The Horizon Echo drifted silently above the black waters of Selene 9, a planet little more than a map point in human charts. Its oceans stretched wide, alien yet strangely familiar in their rolling darkness. No one knew exactly what lay beneath, except for rumors of previous exploration vessels that had never returned. Still, the human crew aboard felt a thrill that no fear could dampen. The thrill of discovery, the very essence of being human. Lieutenant Mara Jensen leaned over the console, her eyes scanning the live sonar feed. The screen showed faint ripples and curves, data points representing the alien ocean below. She had been on a dozen similar missions, but something about this one felt different. The readings flickered irregularly, almost like a heartbeat. "Lieutenant, do you see that?" asked Ensign Rami, her voice tight with a mix of excitement and unease. He pointed at the sonar display, where a pulsing signal appeared amid the steady patterns of the ocean floor. Mara tilted her head. "It's not natural," she said. "The frequency, it's too regular and... Wait." She squinted at the display. "I think it's repeating something." Rami frowned. "Repeating what?" Mara shook her head, unsettled but fascinated. "I don't know yet, but it almost sounds like names." The captain, Harland Reyes, had been standing behind them. His arms were crossed, a frown creasing his face. He was a veteran of countless missions, and the weight of leadership pressed down on him like gravity itself. "Names?" he repeated skeptically. "Are you suggesting that the ocean is calling us?" "Not the ocean, sir," Mara said quickly. "Something in it. Something intelligent. Look at the pattern. It's not random. It's structured." The captain's eyes narrowed. "We've been warned about Selene 9's waters. Other crews didn't come back. If this is alive in some way, I don't want to be the first humans to wake it." Mara held his gaze. "With all due respect, sir, humans survive where others fail. We have to investigate. That's why we're here." The captain didn't answer immediately. He stared at the sonar feed, watching the signal pulse as though it had a mind of its own. Then, slowly, the sound became clearer. At first it was faint, almost subliminal. Then, unmistakably, a voice echoed through the sonar speakers. "Captain Reyes!" The room went silent. Mara's fingers hovered over the console, as if touching it could somehow make the voice stop. "Impossible," muttered Rami. That's my captain's name." The captain swallowed hard, his composure cracking just slightly. "It's impossible," he said again, though his voice lacked conviction. "It's probably interference, some sort of acoustic anomaly." But Mara knew better. The pulse returned, louder this time, stronger, more insistent. "Captain Reyes." And then it changed, growing more complex, layering sound upon sound, like an echo of echoes. Rami's name followed next. "Ensign Rami." Mara's chest tightened as she realized something extraordinary was happening. "It's personalized," she whispered. "It knows who we are." The AI aboard the Horizon Echo chimed in, its tone neutral but alert. "Signal detected, source unidentified, probability of natural origin 0.04%. Signal demonstrates cognitive patterns consistent with intelligence." "Exactly," Mara said. "It's alive, or at least sentient, and it wants to communicate." The captain rubbed his temples, his mind racing. "Communicate or trap us. We've seen how intelligent alien systems can manipulate humans. We can't just dive in blindly." Mara stepped closer, her eyes bright with determination. "Captain, we don't survive by avoiding danger. We survive because we face it. That's human nature. And whatever this is, it's been waiting for someone like us." For a moment, the room held its breath. Then, slowly, the captain nodded. "Fine, but we proceed with caution. Full scanning protocol, no unnecessary risks." Hours later, the Horizon Echo was fully equipped for descent. The submersible, a sleek, armored vessel capable of withstanding extreme pressure, was prepped and loaded with supplies. Mara, Rami, and two other crew members, engineer Kale and biologist Leora, climbed in, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As the submersible detached from the main ship, the darkness of the alien ocean engulfed them. The lights from the submersible cut narrow paths through the inky black water, revealing alien flora swaying in the currents. Shadows stretched unnaturally, shapes twisting and blending with the darkness. The sonar signal continued, faint yet unmistakable, pulsing in rhythm with the submersible's movements. Each pulse seemed almost like a heartbeat, a living presence guiding them deeper into the unknown. "Depth check," Mara said, her voice steady despite the tension. 1,500 meters, Rami replied. "Signal is growing stronger." Suddenly, the sonar blip shifted, revealing a shape far larger than anything natural. The contours suggested structure, deliberate design. "There," Mara said, pointing. "Something is down there." As they descended further, the structure became clear. A sunken ship, unlike any human design. Its hull was enormous, covered in coral-like formations that glowed faintly with bioluminescence. Strange symbols etched along its surface pulsed softly, synchronized with the sonar signals. Kyle let out a low whistle. "That's huge and old. Way older than any human tech I've seen." Leora's eyes sparkled with awe. "And it's almost alive. Look at the way it moves with the currents. It's like it's breathing." The submersible drew closer, scanning every inch. The ship's exterior was a labyrinth of shapes and carvings, each more intricate than the last. Then, as if sensing their approach, the sonar signals intensified. "Captain Reyes." The voice came again, echoing faintly through the submersible's comm system. But now it wasn't just the captain's name. "Mara Jensen, Rami, Kale, Leora." The crew exchanged nervous glances. This was no random phenomenon. The ship recognized them. It was aware of their presence. Mara swallowed hard. "It's calling us, inviting us in." Kyle shifted uneasily. "Inviting us in or warning us? There's a difference." "Either way, humans can handle it," Mara said, more to convince herself than anyone else. "We've survived worse." The hatch of the submersible opened, and they carefully maneuvered toward an entrance. The hull of the alien ship seemed almost receptive, parting slightly as if welcoming them. Mara's heart raced as they crossed the threshold, entering a world frozen in time beneath the waves. Inside, the ship was immense, corridors stretching far beyond what the exterior suggested. The walls glowed faintly with a soft blue light, casting long shadows. Symbols and glyphs moved subtly, shimmering as though alive. This is incredible," Leora whispered. "It's like walking inside a dream." Rami's hand hovered over the controls. "It's watching us. I can feel it." Mara nodded. "It is, and it's learning us, observing what makes humans human." The whispers continued, not in words, but in waves of sound and vibration. The ship seemed to react to their thoughts, shaping corridors and opening pathways. Every corner they turned revealed more wonders, rooms filled with floating crystals, mechanisms that moved without visible energy sources, and holographic images that shimmered with alien history. Kale frowned. "It's almost testing us, watching how we react." "Or guiding us," Mara said. "It wants to see if humans are capable of understanding it, capable of rising to the challenge." Hours passed as they explored, each room more mysterious than the last. The sonar signals were constant, calling their names with a rhythm that matched the beating of their own hearts. The alien ship was not hostile. It was alive, sentient, and curious about them. Finally, they reached a large chamber, its ceiling vanishing into darkness above. In the center floated a holographic projection, shimmering with soft light. Shadowy figures moved within it, their forms ancient and majestic. Mara stepped closer. "It's trying to communicate." The projection shifted, forming shapes that resembled stars and galaxies, connected by glowing lines. It wasn't language as humans understood it, yet somehow they understood. The ship was showing them the universe as it saw it, a map of civilizations long gone, of technologies advanced beyond imagination, of worlds waiting to be discovered. And then, the sonar pulsed again, louder, clearer. Humans. Capable. Of more. Mara's chest tightened. It recognizes us. It knows what humans can do. Rami swallowed hard. And it wants us to prove it? Mara nodded slowly. Yes, and we will. Because that's what humans do. We survive. We explore. We rise when others fail. Outside, the ocean rumbled faintly, waves above the abyssing depths. Inside, the crew of the Horizon Echo felt something extraordinary, a connection, a challenge, and the beginning of a journey that would test everything that made them human. For the first time in the darkness of an alien ocean, humans were not just intruders. They were recognized. They were chosen. And the sunken ship whispered on, calling their names, guiding them into the mysteries of the deep. The submersible hovered just inside the alien ship's enormous doorway, its lights illuminating corridors that seemed endless. Mara Jensen felt a thrill that mixed awe with a touch of fear. The ship was unlike anything humans had ever encountered. Every surface glimmered faintly as though alive, responding to their presence. Every pulse of the sonar seemed to echo their own heartbeats. Rami, who had been quiet since entering, finally spoke. "Mara, do you think it knows us personally? Like, individually?" Mara nodded. "Yes. It called our names back on the Horizon Echo. That wasn't random. It knows who we are, what we are. It's aware of humans in a way no other intelligence has been." Kale frowned. "Or it's testing us, observing how humans react. That could be dangerous." Leora, scanning the walls with her instruments, shook her head. "I've seen intelligent life forms that sense emotion, but nothing like this. It's not just sensing us, it's interacting with our thoughts. Look at the symbols. They respond when we focus on them. They move with us." Mara approached one of the shimmering walls and ran her hand along the glyphs. The symbols shifted as if recognizing her touch. Light traveled through her fingers and expanded across the wall, forming a faint map. Stars and lines connecting points in the galaxy. She gasped. "Look at this," she whispered. "It's showing the galaxy, civilizations, and connections. But these aren't human. These are alien, ancient." Kale leaned closer, awestruck. "You mean it's history? A record of an old civilization?" "Yes," Mara said. "But not just history. It's alive. It's teaching us. And it seems to believe humans can understand." The sonar pulsed again, a soft yet insistent rhythm that echoed through the submersible. But this time the calls were more urgent. "Humans understand potential." Rami shivered. It's saying something, but I can't hear words, just feelings." Mara swallowed hard. "It's trying to communicate on a level beyond language. It senses our thoughts, our courage, our morality." "This ship is alive, in ways we can barely comprehend." The crew continued to explore, moving deeper into the alien vessel. The corridors became wider, the ceiling stretching higher than the submersible could illuminate. The walls pulsed softly, like veins carrying light instead of blood. Occasionally, ghostly holograms flickered to life, showing scenes of alien life. Towering beings with elongated limbs, cities suspended in the air, vast fleets moving silently across the stars. Leora's voice trembled with excitement. "It's showing us its civilization, or maybe civilizations. These images are thousands of years old. Some might even be extinct. Kyle shook his head. I don't like it. We don't know what it wants. How do we know it's safe? Mara paused, thinking. It's not hostile. Every reaction we've seen has been curiosity. It's intelligent, yes, but it doesn't attack. It invites. It recognizes humans as capable. Rami's eyes narrowed. Capable of what? Mara didn't answer immediately. She wasn't sure herself, but she felt it. The pull of the ship, the expectation. Something was waiting for them, something beyond mere exploration. As they moved into a vast chamber, the walls opened slightly to reveal a massive central core. It glowed with a soft light, pulsing rhythmically. In front of it floated another holographic projection, this one larger, more defined. Shadowy figures moved in patterns that suggested purpose. They were not threatening, but they emanated authority, wisdom, and patience. The sonar pulses intensified. This time the calls were faster, insistent. Humans, potential, test, understand. Kyle rubbed his hands over his face. Test? Did it just say test? Yes, Mara said, her voice calm but excited. It wants to see if humans are capable, if we can handle something greater. I don't know what yet, but it trusts us enough to let us explore. Leora's instruments beeped rapidly. The energy readings from this core, it's incredible. Nothing I've ever seen. The ship itself seems like a living organism. The core responds to thought patterns, emotion, even physical presence. And it's compatible with us, only humans. Rami swallowed hard. So, it chooses us because we're human? Mara nodded. Yes, that's why we're here. Because humans have qualities it recognizes. Courage, curiosity, empathy, intelligence, yes, but also morality. We're different from the other species it has encountered, and it knows it. They moved closer to the core, each step careful, measured. The ship seemed to sense hesitation, responding to their emotions. Shadows of alien figures shimmered across the walls, sometimes forming patterns that resembled stars, sometimes abstract shapes that made no sense to the human eye. Suddenly, the sonar pulsed violently, and a voice, or something like it, filled the submersible. Humans. Prove. Worthy. Mara felt a shiver run down her spine. It's giving us a challenge. Not just a test, a challenge. We need to show it what humans can do. Kyle swallowed, nervously gripping a railing. And if we fail? Mara smiled faintly. Then we learn. Humans don't fail by trying. We fail by not trying. That's why we survive. That's why we're here. The core responded, pulsing brighter. The light traveled through the chamber like flowing water. Symbols moved across the walls, forming a complex network. As Mara and the others watched, they realized the patterns represented something beyond stars. Mathematics, logic, ethics, decision paths. The ship was testing their minds, their reasoning, their understanding of morality, strategy, and even emotion. Leora leaned forward, fascinated. It's interactive. It's like it's asking questions, but not with words. With scenarios, challenges, moral dilemmas. Rami frowned. Scenarios. How do we answer? Mara closed her eyes for a moment, letting the pulse of the ship fill her mind. We use what humans do best. Reason, empathy, courage, and trust. It's not about what we know, it's about what we feel, what we decide. Humans have survived because we act, even in impossible situations. Hours passed as they engaged with the core. Each challenge grew more complex. One showed a holographic simulation of a civilization in danger, forcing the crew to make decisions about survival, sacrifice, and leadership. Another displayed strange alien constructs, requiring them to solve patterns that tested intuition and creativity. Each time, the ship responded, acknowledging their choices, adapting the tests. Through it all, the sonar pulsed like a heartbeat, echoing their successes, guiding their failures. Sometimes it whispered their names, sometimes it fell silent, as if waiting. Kyle finally broke the silence. I think it's learning from us, not just testing us. It's adapting, responding to what humans are capable of. Yes, Mara said, her eyes shining. And we are capable. Humans survive where others fail. We rise when others fall. That's why this ship recognizes us. Leora stepped forward, gently touching the core's glowing surface. A wave of light expanded outward, flowing into the chamber, touching each crew member. She gasped, overwhelmed. It's showing us everything it has. Knowledge, history, technology. It wants to share. Rami blinked rapidly, feeling a sense of awe. It trusts us. Why humans? Why not others? Mara shook her head, feeling the truth of it. Because humans are more than logic or strength. We have empathy, morality, imagination, courage. The ship senses that. That's why we're here. That's why it called us. Suddenly, the chamber shifted. Walls moved slightly, creating a pathway deeper into the ship. Symbols pulsed in welcoming patterns, forming steps for them to follow. Mara's pulse quickened. This was not random movement. It was guidance. The ship wanted them to go further, to explore more deeply, to prove themselves in ways they had yet to understand. Kale gripped the railing tightly. Deeper? Are we ready? Mara glanced at each crew member, seeing their fear, their excitement, and most of all, their determination. We don't know what's ahead, but humans survive by moving forward. That's how we rise. That's what makes us different. That's why this ship is here. The sonar pulsed again, louder, stronger. It was no longer just a call, it was affirmation. The ship was telling them they were on the right path. They were not intruders. They were participants. They were humans. With careful steps, they moved deeper into the alien vessel, their lights illuminating corridors that seemed endless. Each step carried them further into the unknown. Each pulse of sonar carried their names, reminding them that the ship knew them, recognized them, trusted them. And somewhere deep in the sunken alien vessel, a presence waited, alive, ancient, sentient. It had watched civilizations rise and fall, yet it sensed something different in humans. It had tested others, it had waited, and now it had found them. Mara felt a thrill that was part fear, part exhilaration, and part pride. Humans were capable of more than technology, more than strength. They were capable of hope, of courage, of rising against the impossible. And in the silent depths of an alien ocean, far from home, that humanity shone brighter than any star. The sonar pulsed once more, insistent, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Humans, worthy, continue, and they did. The deeper corridors of the alien ship stretched endlessly, each turn revealing new wonders and unsettling mysteries. Mara Jensen led her team forward, every sense alert. The ship pulsed with energy, almost breathing around them as if it were alive and aware of their presence. Every shimmer of light, every movement of glyphs on the walls seemed responsive to their thoughts and emotions. Kyle, who had been quiet for hours, finally spoke, his voice low. I've never felt anything like this. It's like the ship knows exactly who we are, what we fear, what we hope for. Mara nodded. It does. This isn't just exploration, it's a test. And we're being judged by what makes us human. Rami glanced nervously at the pulsating walls. A test? What kind of test? Physical? Mental? Or something else? Leora shook her head, her eyes scanning the glowing symbols. I think it's more than just intelligence or strength. It's examining our morality, our empathy, our choices. Every decision we make matters. Mara stepped forward, her hand brushing the wall. The light traveled along her fingers, forming a holographic map of connected systems. Each system was a civilization, some thriving, some gone. Lines connected them, showing relationships, trade routes, conflicts, and alliances. "It's showing us the consequences of choices," Mara said. "Not just our choices, but the choices of intelligent life. And now it wants to see how we respond." The sonar pulsed again, calling their names in a rhythm that matched their racing hearts. Humans understand, capable. As they reached the heart of the ship, the corridors widened into a vast chamber. In the center, a floating platform emitted light, a calm but commanding presence. Above it hovered a projection of the alien core, its shimmering form more defined than anything they had seen before. The sonar pulsed insistently. "Humans, worthy, decision." Mara approached cautiously. "It wants us to act, to prove ourselves, to show that humans are capable of more than just survival." Kale swallowed hard. "Act? Against what?" The projection shifted suddenly, forming a holographic scenario. A civilization of alien beings faced imminent destruction. Their cities crumbled under natural disasters, and the holographic simulation presented multiple choices for intervention. Mara realized immediately that this was a test of judgment and ethics. "It's asking us to make choices that affect lives," Mara said quietly. "Even in simulation, we must choose wisely. That's what humans do, balance courage with morality." Rami stepped forward, his brow furrowed. "But if we make the wrong choice, what happens? Does the ship punish us?" Mara shook her head. "No, it's not about punishment. It's about understanding. It wants to see if we can make choices based on logic, empathy, and courage. That's what humans are capable of." The crew deliberated together, each member contributing their perspective. Leora analyzed the simulation, pointing out potential outcomes. Kyle calculated risks and structural possibilities. Rami considered human ethics and the value of life. Mara listened, synthesizing their reasoning into a decision that balanced compassion and strategy. When they finally made their choice, the ship responded immediately. Light pulsed from the core, enveloping the chamber in warmth. The holographic beings in the simulation were saved, their civilization stabilizing. The sonar pulsed with a rhythm that felt like approval. "It's acknowledging us," Mara said. "We passed the first challenge, but there's more. I can feel it. This is only the beginning." The chamber shifted, opening a pathway deeper into the ship. The walls shimmered with patterns that guided them forward, almost like a living map. The crew stepped cautiously, aware that each step carried them further into the ship's consciousness. Hours passed as they navigated new corridors, each one presenting puzzles and scenarios designed to test them further. Some required ingenuity, others demanded moral clarity. One room projected a situation in which resources were scarce, and the crew had to decide how to allocate them fairly. Another simulated a natural disaster threatening multiple species, challenging the crew to prioritize action without bias. Through it all, the sonar continued to pulse, sometimes whispering their names, sometimes falling silent as if waiting for them to prove themselves. Mara realized that the ship wasn't just testing knowledge or skill, it was measuring human values, the qualities that had allowed their species to survive and thrive against impossible odds. Kale finally broke the silence during one particularly intense scenario. "It's not just about thinking, it's about feeling, about being human. It's testing what makes us different from other species." Mara nodded. "Exactly. It's not strength. It's not intelligence alone. It's our courage, our empathy, our morality. That's why it chose us." As they progressed deeper, the challenges grew more personal. The ship began to project memories and fears, drawing them into scenarios that tested their resolve. Mara saw visions of past failures, moments when humans had faltered under pressure. Rami faced illusions of loss and betrayal. Kyle confronted fears of inadequacy, while Leora saw shadows of past mistakes in her scientific work. Yet, each time they supported one another. Mara encouraged Rami to trust his instincts. Kale reminded Leora that mistakes were part of learning. They began to realize that human strength was not in isolation, but in cooperation, in the ability to rise together even when fear threatened to paralyze them. The sonar pulsed steadily, its rhythm synchronizing with their hearts. Humans. Capable. Unite. Finally, they reached a chamber larger than any before. In the center floated a crystalline structure, radiating pure light. The ship's core seemed to merge with it, projecting an intricate holographic web of civilizations, stars, and energy flows. The structure was alive, pulsating with thought and awareness. Mara approached carefully, feeling the weight of expectation. The ship had guided them here for a purpose. She placed her hand on the crystalline surface, and instantly, a rush of information flowed into her mind. She saw civilizations rise and fall, technologies beyond imagination, choices made and consequences endured. She felt the wisdom of a species that had transcended survival, and yet it waited for humanity to prove itself worthy. Rami, standing beside her, reached out and touched the crystal as well. Knowledge and sensation flooded his mind. He understood, in a way words could not convey, that this was a test of humanity itself, a judgment not of skill or knowledge, but of heart, morality, and courage. Kale and Leora followed, each experiencing the same overwhelming connection. The ship was alive, sentient, and fully aware of their presence. It was not demanding obedience or control. It was seeking recognition of what humans could achieve. The sonar pulsed more strongly, louder, insistent. Humans, prove, worthy. Mara exhaled slowly. We are humans, we survive, we rise, we explore. That is what the ship recognizes, that is what it seeks. Suddenly, the crystalline structure shifted. Light expanded outward, enveloping the chamber. Symbols moved along the walls, forming pathways and patterns that seemed to anticipate human thought. The ship was responding to their unity, their choices, their courage. Leora's eyes widened. It's alive in a way I can't describe. It's not just a machine, it's sentient. And it's communicating, teaching, waiting. Rami nodded, understanding dawning. It's giving us the chance to prove ourselves as a species, not just individuals. Humans, together. Mara felt a surge of pride and responsibility. Humans had faced impossible odds before, hostile worlds, deadly environments, threats beyond comprehension, and yet they had survived. They had risen. The ship sensed that, recognized that, and now it was testing it in a way no other species had been tested. The chamber began to hum with energy, the crystalline core pulsating with life. Light streamed outward, touching every surface, revealing hidden structures, mechanisms, and pathways. The ship was alive, and it was guiding them deeper into a part of itself that had remained untouched for millennia. Kyle's voice trembled slightly. What? What happens if we succeed? Mara smiled, a mixture of awe and determination in her eyes. We become more than explorers. We become a part of something greater. This ship has waited for someone capable of understanding it, of rising to its challenge. That's humans. Rami glanced around, awestruck. And if we fail? Mara shook her head. We don't fail. Humans learn. We survive. And even in challenge, we rise. That is why we were chosen. That is why we are here. The sonar pulsed once more, stronger, resonant. Humans, Worthy. Continue. Rise. Mara placed both hands on the crystalline surface, feeling the flow of energy, thought, and awareness. She felt the ship respond, adjusting, adapting, learning from them as they learned from it. Together, the crew understood the first true purpose of the ship. It was a test of humanity, a measurement of the qualities that had allowed their species to survive against impossible odds. Hours passed as they remained in the chamber, interacting with the core. Each pulse of sonar, each shimmer of light, each holographic projection reinforced the message. Humans were different. Humans were capable. Humans were rising to meet the impossible. Finally, Mara stepped back, feeling the full weight of the moment. This is only the beginning. The ship has given us the first stage of its test. There are greater challenges ahead, but we are ready. We are human, and humans rise. The crew exchanged determined glances, understanding that the journey was far from over. They had faced the first true challenge of the alien ship, and survived, not by brute strength or intelligence alone, but by courage, unity, and the qualities that defined humanity. Above them, the sonar pulsed like a heartbeat, echoing their names. And somewhere deep in the sunken alien vessel, the ship waited, aware, ancient, and alive, ready to guide them further into the mysteries of the deep. Humans had proved worthy so far, and they would continue to rise. The chamber of the alien ship shimmered with an intensity that made the submersible feel alive. Every wall glowed faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the sonar that had called their names since the beginning. Mara Jensen felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. They had passed the first stages of the ship's test, logic, courage, and morality. But now, at the deepest level, the true challenge awaited. "This is it," Mara whispered to the crew. "The final stage. Everything we've done has led us here." Kale swallowed hard. "Final stage? What does that mean? What's left?" Leora stepped closer to the crystalline core. "I think it's going to test us as humans, not as individuals, not even just as a team. It's going to test what humanity can do as a species." Rami looked around nervously. "You mean, like, everything we've learned, everything we believe in, everything we are, all at once?" Mara nodded. "Exactly. And we have to rise to it. Humans survive impossible odds. That's why we're here. That's why it chose us." The sonar pulsed again, louder and clearer than ever. "Humans. Capable. Prove. Rise." The words were no longer whispers. They resonated through the ship, filling every corridor, vibrating in the minds of the crew. The crystalline core shifted, opening a pathway downward. The walls rippled like liquid, forming a staircase of light. Mara took the first step, her hand brushing against the glowing surface, feeling energy flow into her fingertips. The rest of the crew followed cautiously. As they descended, the chamber transformed. The walls dissolved into a vast open space that stretched beyond vision. Stars, galaxies, and nebulae floated around them, suspended in light and energy. It was as if the ship had recreated the universe itself inside its heart. Leora gasped. "It's a simulation. Or maybe a vision. I've never seen anything like it. It's infinite." Kale's voice trembled. "Infinite. And we're in it?" Mara nodded, awestruck. "Yes, and every choice we make here matters. This is the ultimate test. Not of skill, not of knowledge, but of humanity itself." Suddenly projections appeared around them. Alien civilizations, some thriving, some destroyed, flickered in the stars. Ships burned, cities crumbled, and life teetered on the edge of survival. The crew realized they could interact with these projections, guiding decisions, influencing outcomes. Rami's eyes widened. We're responsible. Every action here affects lives. Real or not, it's testing our judgment." Mara stepped forward. "Exactly. This is what humans do best. We rise when others fall, we act when choices seem impossible, and we protect life whenever we can." The ship pulsed, sending a wave of energy that synchronized with their thoughts. It presented challenge after challenge, disasters that required quick thinking, ethical dilemmas that tested compassion, and strategies that demanded creativity and courage. Each decision had immediate consequences. The holographic civilizations reacted realistically to the crew's actions. Leora guided a city facing a planetary storm, ensuring evacuation and protection of life. Kyle managed the allocation of scarce resources across multiple species, balancing fairness and survival. Rami focused on the morality of each choice, ensuring no life was sacrificed unnecessarily. Mara coordinated them all, synthesizing decisions that combined logic, ethics, and human empathy. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes in the timeless space. The sonar pulsed with every choice, calling their names as affirmation or urging them to reconsider. Humans, capable, rise, worthy. Then the most difficult challenge appeared. A civilization faced annihilation from a rogue celestial event, a massive asteroid on a collision course. Evacuation was impossible, resources were limited. The simulation forced them to choose, save as many as possible, even if some lives were lost, or attempt an impossible rescue that risked total destruction. The crew hesitated. None wanted to make the wrong choice. Mara felt the weight of humanity on her shoulders, not just themselves, but what humans represented in the eyes of the ship. Kale finally said, "We have to try. Humans never give up. We protect life even when the odds are impossible. That's what makes us, us." Mara nodded. "Then we act, together." They coordinated a solution, combining strategy, resourcefulness, and compassion. The crew worked as one, guiding the simulation with precision and empathy. Somehow, against all odds, they managed to save most of the civilization. Losses occurred, yes, but the majority survived. The ship pulsed with approval, light cascading in waves that filled the chamber. Rami exhaled, relief flooding him. We did it. We saved them." Leora smiled, tears in her eyes. "It's amazing. Even in simulation, we made a difference." The ship pulsed again, more intensely. This time, the sonar was not just calling their names. It was singing in harmony with the energy around them. Light expanded from the crystalline core, enveloping the crew completely. They felt knowledge, understanding, and awareness flowing into their minds. Mara realized the truth. The ship had waited for someone capable of understanding it, of rising to its challenge, of proving what humanity was truly capable of. Humans were not just explorers or survivors. They were pioneers, capable of compassion, courage, and unity in ways no other species had demonstrated. The ship projected a vision of itself, revealing its purpose. It was part of a galactic network of sentient vessels, each abandoned after the fall of its creators. They had searched for intelligent life, capable of compassion and courage, life capable of rising when others failed. Humanity was the first to meet that standard. Kale's voice trembled. "So, we're chosen?" Mara looked at him, her eyes shining. "Yes, we've been tested, and we've passed. Not because we are perfect, but because humans rise. We act when others would falter. We survive and we protect life, and we continue forward even in impossible situations." The crystalline core began to shift, forming a bridge of light that extended into the void of stars within the chamber. The ship was offering them something, a choice, or perhaps a path. The sonar pulsed steadily, rhythmically, as if saying, "Humans, worthy, continue." Rami stepped forward cautiously. "Where does it lead?" Mara smiled. "To the future, to knowledge, to possibilities we can't yet imagine. Humans survive because we explore, and now the galaxy is open to us." As they stepped onto the bridge of light, the ship responded to their presence. Pathways and symbols shifted, creating a network of guidance. The holographic civilizations projected outcomes of cooperation, exploration, and growth. Humanity's role in the galaxy, previously unknown, was now recognized and supported. Leora whispered, awed. "It's giving us the tools, knowledge, connections, understanding. Everything we need to rise." Kyle nodded. "And it trusts us with it. Only humans. Only us." Mara felt the full weight of what had happened. The ship, ancient and sentient, had judged humanity. It had tested them in ways no species had ever been tested, measuring courage, morality, creativity, and unity. And humanity had risen. The sonar pulsed one final time, steady and strong, resonating through the submersible and the alien ship alike. "Humans, worthy, rise, join." The crystalline core expanded fully, light filling every corner of the chamber, every corridor, every surface of the ship. Energy and knowledge flowed outward, connecting the submersible, the crew, and the vessel itself. They felt an understanding beyond words, a sense of place within the vast network of galactic civilizations. Mara exhaled, feeling a profound sense of pride and hope. This is what it means to be human, to rise, to explore, to face impossible odds and continue forward. We've proven that, not just to the ship but to ourselves. The crew looked around, the weight of the moment settling on each of them. They had faced fear, uncertainty, and challenge. They had been tested morally, intellectually, and emotionally, and they had emerged worthy, not because of technology or strength, but because of the qualities that defined humanity. Rami smiled, a mixture of relief and awe. "We're part of something bigger, something ancient, something alive, and it chose us." Leora nodded. "It's not just a ship. It's a teacher, a guide, a sentinel, and it recognizes humans for what we are." Kyle, finally allowing a smile, said, "Humans survive. Humans rise. And we just proved it. Again." Mara stepped forward, looking at the vast expanse of stars and galaxies projected by the ship. The path ahead was endless, full of possibilities. Humans had passed the test, but this was only the beginning. The network of sentient vessels, the civilizations they had seen, and the knowledge of the ancients were now open to them. The galaxy, vast and mysterious, awaited human courage and ingenuity. The sonar pulsed one last time, steady and affirming. "Humans, worthy, rise, lead." Mara turned to her crew. "We've been chosen to carry humanity forward, to explore, to connect, and to rise. This ship, this network, it recognizes what humans can achieve, and now it's time for us to show it." With renewed determination, the crew of the Horizon Echo prepared to ascend, bringing the knowledge and power of the sunken alien vessel back to their world. They had proven humanity capable of more than survival. They were pioneers, explorers, and emissaries of hope. Above them, the oceans of Selene 9 remained silent, unaware of the triumph that had occurred beneath its waves. But deep inside the alien vessel, the sonar no longer whispered. It resonated with certainty. Humanity had risen, and the galaxy would never be the same. Mara took a deep breath, her heart steady. Humans rise, and we're just getting started. The submersible began its ascent, carrying with it the future of humanity, the wisdom of the ancients, and the promise of exploration, courage, and unity across the stars. And somewhere deep in the sunken alien vessel, the ship pulsed softly, alive,